2 years ago this week, 3 students were killed and 3 were wounded in a high school shooting you probably don't remember because there are so many. An assistant football coach named Frank Hall helped stop that shooting. But when we sat down with him recently, Hall told us he wished there was no reason to know his name or, God forbid, think of him as a hero. He's the type you'd call a regular guy. On February 27, 2012, Hall was doing what he always did. With hugs and fist bumps, he kept order among 100 kids gathering in the school cafeteria before class. Then, Hall was confronted by a question no one can truly answer. What would you do at the sound of gunfire? No time to think. There's only the reflex of character. This is the story of a fraction of a second and the months of consequences that follow. So much time has passed, and still no one in Chardon, Ohio knows why it happened. In February 2012, they'd been marking the inches of Lake Erie snow and counting the days till the tapping of the maples. Forbes had said that this was the 4th best place in America to raise a family, and many of the 5,000 in Chardon credited the high school, ranked excellent 13 years in a row.
911, what is your emergency?
This is Chardon High School calling. We need assistance right now. There's a student with a gun.
At 7:35, the call came from the principal's office. There, teacher Tim Armelli heard shots down the hall.
You knew that the shooting was what it was. Your head's telling you there's shots. Your heart's not believing it. You freeze for a moment. You don't think you're going to see your wife or kids again.
You got onto the school PA and said what?
Lockdown. Teachers go to lockdown.
In the cafeteria, through the door on the left, a 17-year-old boy who went by the initials TJ was shooting to kill. He'd put 10 rounds in his gun and 6 letters across his shirt. Killer, it said.
I saw a young man firing into a crowd. I just stood up, shoved my table out of the way, and started after him.
It's tough, even now, for Frank Hall to speak of it. But with the support of his wife, he told us what happened when he charged at the boy with the gun.
He raises his weapon at me. I jump behind a Pepsi machine. I hear another fire.
That bullet missed Hall, so he kept chasing the student down the corridor.
And he sees me, and he takes off down the hallway. So I chase after him again, screaming, yelling. Kids still running. And I get to within like 6, 7, 8 feet of him. And there was a young man at the end of the hallway, right in front of the doors, Nick Wassel, and TJ shoots him in the back.
I was shot once in the spine. That paralyzed me, and that's when I went down.
What do you remember seeing or hearing of Coach Hall in those moments?
He said, as he was running by me, he said, hang tight, I'll be back.
Pursued by Hall, the shooter ran, without loading the second magazine that he carried, with 10 more rounds.
Then I chase TJ out the doors, and I lose him in the parking lot in 47 seconds. From the first shot till he exits the door is 47 seconds.
Hall ran back to the cafeteria, where Daniel Parmertor, Demetrius Hewlin, and Russell King were not going to survive.
You just knew that it wasn't going to end well. You know, so I just asked God to be in this place with us and to be with them. And then I went around and I tried to comfort him the best I could. And Demetrius had a long tear on his face, and I wiped it and tried to make Danny and Russell as comfortable as I could. They were still breathing. They were trying to fight. And, you know, what was only a couple minutes seemed like forever waiting for the paramedics and law enforcement. It was tough.
But those boys needed somebody to be with them.
Yeah, you know, I'm so thankful. Very thankful that I could be there.
The emergency plan, in essence, is to get all the kids out of the hallways, get them all into rooms, lock those rooms, and shelter in place.
Correct.
Frank didn't do that.
He didn't. He acted as a father. He acted as someone that was those kids' parents while they're away from home.
There's nothing in the plan that says assistant football coach chases gunmen through the school.
You just think about getting him out of your room, get him out of your area.
And you did that. You got him out of the cafeteria, but you kept going.
I just reacted that day. I just, he was hurting our kids, and that's all I did. I just reacted.
As soon as you're staring down the barrel of a gun, you just you take off.
Death missed Nate Mueller by less than an inch. A bullet tore through the top of his ear.
And for him to be a teacher and to put himself in harm's way, to chase him out of the building for kids that were just students in his cafeteria is amazing.
He never thought of you as just students.
No.
No, we were his family.
And you know that now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't long after the gunman bolted out through that door that he was found in the woods by the police. He gave himself up without incident, pled guilty, and has been sentenced to life without parole. He has never given a reason or a motive for the shooting. At sentencing, the judge wondered whether he did it to make a name for himself. So the community asked us to keep his name and his face out of this. And we have. When it was all over, Hall texted, "I'm okay," to his wife, Ashley. But she didn't know what he'd done until he came home.
He said he was sorry that he had put himself in that situation, and that, he realized that he could have been shot, and that would have left us without a husband and without a father.
There was a lot to leave behind. Ashley works for the county, placing kids in foster care, and the Halls have adopted 4 of those kids: Christian, Quincy, and the twins, Mark and Sean. Sheltering kids is a way of life for the Halls, which is why he can't understand how school shootings have become a fact of life.
We need to change. We got to stop this from happening. I remember when Columbine happened, everybody in the world knew what Columbine was. I can't sit here and tell you every school has had a school shooting now. We need to find ways to secure our schools better. We need to make a stand right now that our schools need to be the most important thing we have in this country. Not Wall Street, not Capitol Hill, our schools. We need to determine that in our minds and heart that our school and our children need to be the most important thing we have. That's the bottom line.